So, back in the day, I did a lot of
drugs.
Well, just alcohol. Just alcohol. I went to a state school.
This is the best Mad Lib intro I've ever. Your pause set it up for that. So now my mind's wandering to places that I'm excited to see whether they're going to go or not.
I'm so sorry. I was just like, oh.
What's wild is I was going to say volunteering. You said drugs, and I was like volunteering.
Wow. All right. I took it somewhere.
I know. But, with a past employer, I had the wonderful opportunity, and I don't mean that sarcastically. I mean that like earnestly, to sit on a couple of boards here in San Antonio. And one I got to sit on was the food bank, right? And so that's definitely a cause that I certainly take to heart personally, and then, for my local community here. And I was able to establish a relationship with the New Braunfels Food Bank. That's a small town outside of San Antonio, with our work location. And, back in kind of that COVID time, if you will recall, people are furloughed, people are worse than it is now, or perhaps now the same, I don't know, but it was very hard times, correct? And we saw that the San Antonio Food Bank made the global news for having, the longest lines for food and all of this. I mean, it was very tragic here in this area in particular. And so my employer, I got them on board to host food drives, which is fantastic, right? Where the food bank comes and they set up shop, and the employees volunteer, and, we had, 10 lines, people are driving through, they're waiting in their cars, we're putting everything in the cars, full day event, right? We're serving thousands of people like in one day, like so incredible. So it was wonderful to, partner with the food bank and coordinate that. But I couldn't help but just kind of chuckle on, the event days because of what we were passing out, right? It was like donations, of course, and whatnot, but it would be no shit. Like we would send people home with like 30 pounds of celery. Right? Like celery, and then there would be like a box of shrimp, and then like a log of sausage. And, it's kind of this mismatch, hodgepodge of just, all these things. And I'm sure people, obviously they were so grateful. We were so grateful to have the opportunity to pass those things out. But I will never forget this poignant conversation I had while I was standing with a coworker of mine. And, he's from the UK, and he turned to me and he said, "Gosh, this just blows my mind that we're doing this." And I was like, "Right, isn't it great?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's wonderful, right?" He's like, "No, the fact that we have to do this in the US." He's like, "We would never do this in the UK. We just wouldn't see this like this, I mean, we would just already be supporting people behind the scenes. Like this wouldn't be a thing, like to have a food bank like this, right? And to have a food drive and to be giving people, 20 pounds of carrots. That was his station at one point, 20 pounds of carrots, we're making stew tonight, fish stew or something. But, I just remember him being really, really blown away. And like, I just kind of had one of those like light bulb, mind blown moments. Because if you've ever only known a certain culture or, perspective, to have someone say that, like, wow, I can't believe we're doing this, but it's kind of like in this melancholy way. It just like really like takes you aback, that, wow, look at us, like doing this food drive. Everyone's so like excited and yay and whatever. And then you have all the international folks, they're like mind blown and their eyes are wide, like, oh my gosh, like
Americans are crazy.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we have to crowdsource for basic items, like even when I was posting the teachers' Amazon wish list,
yes,
like that, what? And I had so many people from different countries reach out and
confused.
Be like, "Wait,
yes.
I don't understand that they don't provide any of this." No, they don't. And the teacher's salary is so low that they have to crowdsource for basic school supplies. Like, it's wild that, this is what we're so used to. Even just like from food to basic needs, basic human needs.
I know, right? Truth. So just a little hot goss from the water cooler there.
Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Ding ding, employee survey time. When you're an HR professional trying to make work better, did you know that SurveyMonkey can make your life easier in doing that? On HR Besties, we talk about how it's important to get feedback from employees and act on it. SurveyMonkey's ready-to-go HR survey templates can make it so much easier for you to know what and how to ask it. Because you want to get employee input and then act on it, so you're not just guessing, right? Well, these templates are designed for you, so you can gather targeted insights that directly support and enhance your HR strategies. When you know better, you do better, right? I've used SurveyMonkey to find out how people like to be recognized. Some people love to be celebrated publicly, but not everyone does. When you ask people their preferences and honor them, that's the HR support that people love. Go see how SurveyMonkey's HR templates can help you get the data-driven input you want, from manager effectiveness to benefits to job satisfaction. Go see them yourself and tell us how you use them. Transform your HR plans from guesswork to precision. Explore SurveyMonkey templates at surveymonkey.com. Share how SurveyMonkey drives your insights and strategies with us.
Shifting gears and aligned to that hot goss, shall we kick off the agenda? Up first, we have Cringe Corporate Speak, and Jamie has that covered for us today. Again, just a friendly reminder, try to use it or don't in your work day. You could do a drinking game with it after work if you need to. And then, of course, we will pivot to our hot topic, which today is everything basically corporate social responsibility. So corporate giving campaigns, volunteering at work. We get a lot of questions on this. And as you can imagine, we do have a bit of an inside scoop on the behind the scenes of all of those things, right? So that should be a good hot topic. And then, per usual, we will end with some questions and comments. All right. Well, we got that hard stop today. So Jamie, you want to cringe us out?
Yeah. So today's word is e-meat,
Okay.
which I don't know. I mean, I guess I've seen it a lot more frequently post-pandemic because you're truly remote and you're meeting people over email. It's so nice to e-meet you. I don't know. I just hate it so much.
Oh, okay. Yes. That's how you mean it.
Yeah.
I do not say that. It's never been a part of the vernacular anywhere I work, but I have received that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What do you all say in that? Like when you...
I just usually say it's nice to meet you or
quotes,
something.
Meet you.
Yeah.
It's great to be connected.
Yeah.
Like I say that a lot, I think. I don't say e-meet.
I don't think I've actually ever used e-meat. Ugh.
Me neither. But people are using it more, Jamie, you're right.
It's giving LinkedIn for some reason for me.
I may just use e-meet in person, just weird people out. You know what I mean? But again, you get people avoiding you probably. So it's good. It works.
Oh my God, that'd be nice to e-meet you. Nice to
Then they'll
e-meet
be
you.
like, oh my God, we're nuts. Here we are.
Oh gosh, here we are trying to reinvent wheels. Shall we pivot? Shall we pivot to the hot topic for today? Everything CSR, as you may have heard, or corporate social responsibility, everything corporate giving programs, everything volunteerism at work, all of those things. As I mentioned, we get so many questions on this topic. So, ladies, curious, what questions have you received on this topic?
Well, I mean, just raise a hands. And yes, you too, driving in your car on your way to work. How many have you guys had to donate money from your check, your biweekly check for like United Way or something to wear jeans? I'm raising my hand.
Yeah. That was a prize.
Oh,
Yeah.
For
You
the
gotta wear
privilege of
jeans.
jeans for a month or something. Is that what you got one time? Like you got jeans for how long? Like one day or what?
I think if I remember correctly, this was my first job out of college. If we donated at least $5 from every paycheck, we could wear for the whole year. We could wear jeans every Friday, if I remember correctly. And I fucking did it. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I had to pay to wear jeans. Now, granted, it was going to a good cause, but really?
I know, like 1% of that, but yeah. Depending on the charity.
Yeah. And knowing how much I made at that job.
Oh, I know.
Oh my God. Like that's like, and I paid $5 to wear jeans.
Like when you say corporate social responsibility, the thing that sticks to me is that for a lot of organizations, what that means is window dressing, because in the last decade, that term CSR, corporate social responsibility, like a lot of boards of directors or even certain regulations in certain locations, especially around the world, but have this to put out this statement. And it says, and it's, covers kind of all things like how you treat labor, how you treat the environment, things that really talk about that employer's ties to the communities that you serve and that you work within. And so like overall, it's super, super important. But that really falls into a lot of times we talk up on this podcast, this idea that at work, often the question is, what do we have to do? When we, the three of us, really push you, especially in HR, no matter what your role is, to think about what can we do to help and support others at work and help and support ourselves. But so corporate social responsibility often falls into this like check the box. What do we have to put? What do we have to say? And what makes us look good without actually having as much effort? And so it's like the rub that, especially where it's regulatory or it's pushed for, like it's better than not, because left alone, a lot of places wouldn't care. But it's changing the mindset as opposed to just the obligation.
Mm-hmm. I've always really enjoyed the cultures where that really was the culture. Like the kind of what can we do? Let's make time to do it, right? The organizations that give, volunteer days, and are supporting employees in the workplace in their charitable, and volunteering efforts, and like I mentioned, working for the organization that allowed me to, partner with the food bank and then bring that in and, like kind of making time for that, because of course that takes time out of my workday, but they're like, hey, we support that, right? I mean, so I love it when it's part of the culture, like you do feel this altruism or this kind of the giving. What I don't appreciate, and I've worked at these places too, and you're definitely touching on that, Ashley, are the organizations that it's more of a check the box. It's not part of the culture. They're not even giving to employees, so they could really give a shit whether they give to the community or whether their employees do, or what I mean, or whether they care for their community. And I tend to see, at least again in my experience, that these organizations are doing those big campaigns, and kind of, throwing it on someone at the office to kind of coordinate this thing. And they're kind of checking that box. And instead of their multi-billion-dollar ass making a donation to something, they're having the employees do it and running all of that, And so I know there's lots of complaints on, the corporate giving programs. And I've received, those are a lot of the comments or questions that I receive kind of in this space. Are they a scam? Should I donate? Will I be blackballed if I don't? Do people know whether I'm donating or not? All of these things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's the giveaway right there.
Well, with the jeans day, they sure do.
It's the tell. It is. It's that aspect of like, altruism. So like, are you doing this because you want to give or because there's a reward or you have to? And there's a difference between incentives and like disincentives, like embarrassment. But I know someone that absolutely got a ding on this, that got it brought up in their performance review about not donating as part of their like culture and their citizenship. And I'd made a video on this, and people were like, no, who cares? So many people were like, oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. I had my manager bring this up. I've had like the CEO walking by with a checklist, and at times HR, because some of those people are like, I've had HR that goes through and they have managers reach out to, or the pressure that people will say, we want every team to be at 100% giving.
Oh yeah. We'll give you a pizza party.
and so that gets into really personal conversations, especially when you have a manager that's getting that pressure. And they're like, hey guys, everybody donate even something. And you have team members that are like, you don't know my financial situation. And I should be the recipient. I am or could be or need to be the recipient of this aid, or at least I'm barely scraping by. I don't have things to give.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I remember being at an employer and, they just wanted to pay $12 an hour, entry, and they are bullying. That's how I took it. Bullying employees to do the, the automatic, like you were saying, Jamie, the automatic and the biweekly. Yeah, exactly. Of however much. And they had the thermometer up with the percentage. You've seen it, the big thermometer, and they're, coloring it in with the marker and all of this. And, I'm like, some of these employees make $12 an hour and you want them to contribute every paycheck. Are you kidding me? And then you're bullying them about it. And to your point, Ashley, people are bringing it up, or, there's some sort of measure, right? And for me, I personally didn't like feeling pressured because I didn't want to donate my money to an organization that I knew had 95% of contributions go to admin fees, and their CEO was a multimillionaire. Yep. And I'm like, that's disingenuous. I would prefer to put my money locally, which I do. And it's, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to target certain organizations that meant more to me. But then I'm pressured here, especially as a leader in the organization, to at least contribute $5 a paycheck to something I don't believe in, Oh, like that sucks. The pressure. Have you all had to do that or felt that pressure?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times it feels like they just want photos to put on their website. It's just it's more the look, so that, potential vendors or clients or potential employees come and they see, oh, look, we, once a year we go to a food bank and we pack the boxes or what have you. And, one thing I have learned in my 21 years is not always, but sometimes you're paying back the company for the donation that was already made. You're not actually, you're not giving it directly to the company. Now, granted, not everywhere's like that. And I've seen it reverse too, where your money is truly going monthly on a check to that program, but it's not always like that. So just be aware of that. Sometimes it's better for you to get on your phone and go to that website of that charity and donate directly to them than doing it on, your receipt at checkout.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
There I'm going to be like checking out. Hold please. Sorry. Let me people behind me. Let me just Google. They'll be like, don't worry about it. Like, no, I want to be certain. I want to find this information.
Right. This is 63 cents.
Yeah.
I need.
You want to round up?
Exactly. Those. Yeah.
Did you know that hashtag HR Besties podcast isn't just for the socials? It's Ashley. I've been a loyal Peloton user since 2019. That's because Peloton has the convenient and varied instruction I need. I'm working on my strength and also training for a marathon, so I can find classes for both on my Peloton tread. Peloton has a variety of training programs. Whether you need to de-stress with some yoga or take a walking meditation, there are so many ways to challenge yourself in the way that works for you. We're friends here at HR Besties, and we like to cheer each other on. So we have an HR Besties podcast leaderboard hashtag, and I love to give high fives when I'm working out with a fellow bestie. Leigh likes the bragging rights as well. Peloton instructors are in a league of their own. You have incredible athletes, personalities. They motivate me not just to work out, but to do my best each day. If I'm ever having a rough day, I listen to some Ally Love or Adrienne Williams, and I'm a better version of myself. There are workouts for every mood. Feeling like a morning workout? Let's go. Evening owl? They've got you. Find your push and find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com.
When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. I have always used LinkedIn Jobs in my various positions across organizations, and it was our go-to way to get high quality candidates. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/HRBesties. That's linkedin.com/HRBesties to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
And some of it, I think, is the aspect of giving is one of the ways is for organizations to give and have those, again, the top when you have those CEOs and people making it. But even there are C-suite leaders that are living a lot harder lives than they would like you to think that they're living, and their financial situation is different. So I wouldn't even say an across the board thing on some of the C-suite, because especially some organizations, C-suite is not paid quite what you think, but for organizations to give those donations, but then for employees, I mean, I do think having, like, some people love the angel trees or things like that. That's like you take the donation and people do, they love those, and have that be, having things be voluntary. I'm not a fan of the incentives tied to personal giving, because I just think it creates such pressure, even if it's well intended. But to Jamie's point is like thinking about ways you can help your employees give time. So Leigh as well, talking about places giving volunteering days. So having opportunities for people during their regular workday to do things, whether it's in-house or go locally and do that and spend your time. So people aren't spending anything out of pocket, and they're not asked to come in on the weekends or do things. And you can always create optional things, like, I've certainly been part of like 5Ks for charity, people that want to do it. But when you can really limit anything that you make to be, required or expected to be during the workday and not take a dime out of your team members' pockets, I just think it can create benefits to the community without creating those pressures that are like, people get enough pressure at work. They don't want pressure to have to give to not get yelled at or made fun of or whatever.
Or not get that promotion, right? Or be blackballed or whatever. I mean, I'm so aligned with you, Ashley. I mean, I try to affect change. I know some of you out there think HR runs everything. We do not, so, I would always encourage, gosh, we should not be tying, employee dollars to, this campaign where we're looking at completion percentages and pressuring people. And oh my gosh, just reward everybody, whoever can or wants to contribute. Fantastic. One thing that I've seen work really well in the past, and I really, really enjoyed is, when I had an engagement team or fun team or whatever you've called them in an organization, sponsor a certain charity, right? Like the employees coming together, deciding what charities they wanted to do, doing their own fundraisers. I mean, that's when kind of that altruism or giving spirit is really alive in the organization. When, you just kind of give time, you throw in some dollars, they do all the effort because they're so passionate about it, but it really just spreads that joy of giving back, across the workplace. If that's something you haven't seen or heard of, I mean, try it on, propose it. I mean, to me, that works really, really well. And it gives, people decision making. It gives them leadership opportunity. It gives them, just that opportunity for the feel goods at work, which then they tie to work in the workplace, So have you all had any best practices, in this vein, CSR or volunteerism or?
Well, I think you already brought up a really good point, is having volunteer hours. So if that's something that you can incorporate into at your workplace, or, at least start pitching that idea to the senior leaders and get that on the board, that's something that's super helpful, because then not only can you host events like a food bank, and, go to organize like the cans or whatever, but they can be paid while they're there. Right. And they're not taking off time from work to go to the food bank and not be paid. So that's really, I think, showing that the company does care. But even if it's just 8 hours a year, and they can use it for their own. If they don't want to go with the company to the food bank, they can use it for, maybe they want to go to walk dogs or, at the shelter, allowing the employee to choose what they do with those 8 hours, I think is so important. And that's kind of where it starts, is that having that time and allowing employees that flexibility to do those things, and not just outside of work.
Yeah, but it's great for the brand, because trust me, they're going to go to the animal shelter and be like, my employer is supporting me to be here today. And they're like, where do you work? Oh, I work at wherever. Oh, wow, that's fantastic. I mean, it really, it's good. It's good. Right.
Exactly. And send your social team pictures of that. If you have, a social media team, send them pictures. Let's post that. Let's get excited. Like, so-and-so, Jamie used her 4 hours of her volunteer time to play with puppies today. I actually might go do this like right now, because this sounds amazing.
I know. I'm like, we should go play with puppies.
Well, first, those that listen to our HR department of that episode are going to be thinking like, I am the fun team and I'm the social media team. I'm HR. I'm an octopus.
Exactly.
I have, these.
Yep. And I've been there.
I love this idea. I think from the best practice is, truly give monetary as an organization. You can give avenues if you want, like things that are happening, whether there's emergencies, places like that, but not having those thermometers and those pressures, but having those volunteer times when people have that time off, whether it's organizationally, I think is great, because you can really bond with people, but also I love that idea of things that are really meaningful to employees. Like, I remember now, it's like it jarred this memory in me of working at a large organization, and they had this. And so one person did a lot of work for a charity called, I think, My Dog Eats First. And it was about homeless. It was for homeless, like pet food and things like that for homeless individuals, their pets. And so, and they also had, and then also military, and had a former military member that came and spoke about met veterans' mental health and resources and things like that. And so, it's really this line between, I totally get it, of people that have that, work is work. You show up, you get the job done. We don't need these things at work. And I get it. And I think sometimes that's a defense mechanism of people that have had really bad experiences. And they're like, I'm not giving or showing any of myself. But for organizations, aside from the capital CSR expectations, you are where people's lives happen, for better or for worse, especially in America. You are where a lot of people's lives and time and energy happen. So what do you want to do with that? And if you want to do good and help people do good for their communities, then make the most of it and create opportunities where people feel like they're treated like humans. And you make it so it's not just, you come in, you get your stuff done and you leave, but honoring those people that are your business or your organization.
And definitely caring for the communities in which you live, work, and serve. I mean, I think that's really important, just, to get strategic for a second, just from a business sustainability perspective, because we know that retention really comes from connection and personalizing the experience for employees. And so they will feel more connected to your workplace, right? When you support them in what matters to them, and when you support their kids' school and their kids' basketball league and their all the things, right? I mean, so you really have to embed in the community as much as possible and make it personal, you know? So it's good practice. Good practice.
When we launched our podcast, we were asked, can we get HR Besties merch? And this was wild to us. And it really happened. Like, it wasn't just our moms asking us, although they do support us. But we had our designer make stuff all cute, like with our logo, wine glasses, sweatshirts, mugs with sayings like, don't make me use my HR voice. But then we thought, okay, how do we sell it? We use Shopify. So we can have our own site and make it easy for our Besties listeners to see what we have and grab it easily. It's much more easily than trying to visit every corporate headquarters ourselves and just show it in person. And although that does sound appealing, we'll stick to Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/HRBesties. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/HRBesties to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/HRBesties.
Ready to launch a career and future you can be proud of? Welcome to Merrill, where an industry-leading advisor training program will help you get licensed. And with lead gen support from Bank of America's vast customer base, you'll get the referrals you need to establish your own practice. It's time to see your career charge forward with Merrill. Apply now at careers.bankofamerica.com. Copyright 2024 Bank of America Corporation.
Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments?
I do. What's a volunteer opportunity that you've done through work that stands out to you?
I have a couple. One, it wasn't necessarily a volunteer opportunity, but something that I thought was neat is it was the C-suite, and instead of buying each other gifts or like pulling Secret Santa, we decided that we were going to take a family in need and like actually purchase things for the family. It was a family of 4. It was kind of like an angel tree. But like 3 of us went shopping and we just had a ball. And this was when I was a department of 1, HR department of 1. And we just had a ball, like being able, and then we all got in the conference room and wrapped presents. And I don't know, we were really just able to make someone's Christmas better that year, like a family's Christmas better that year. And for me, that was better than anything that I could have ever got anyone in the C-suite. You know what I mean? Or they could have gotten me personally.
I'm just trying to rack through my mind of different gifts that different C-suite leaders have gotten, especially some of these large.
A Kendra Scott necklace. And I'm like, ooh, okay, this is cute, but
private jet hours.
But then like the pressure of buying something for the CEO who literally has everything. It was so nerve-wracking every year.
That's why you do like I did that time and buy a gift card and then take it back.
Oh, you don't drink Starbucks?
I found out he only drank Dunkin'. Whoopsies. Okay. Leigh, what about you?
I've done a lot, like through organizations. So thankful the places I've worked supported that, you know, for the most part. There's been some onesie twosies, but for the most part, you know, something that stands out to me is that I was able to multiple times speak at schools, elementary schools, reading in elementary schools, teaching lessons in high schools, like through like junior achievement and things like that. And one time I got to paint the benches and at the Washington Mall. So spent the day sanding and repainting all the benches at the Washington Mall. Is that what that's called? You were in DC, right?
Yeah. The National Mall.
Did I say that? National Mall. There we go.
Yeah, I used to play kickball on the National Mall back in the day.
Yeah,
Waka, for those of you who are DCers, I played Waka 20 plus years ago. Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of a unique experience, right? I mean, you know, so you can really do some crazy things.
Yeah, very cool.
When I worked at my first law firm, which is a big law firm, they knew I'd been in DC and I was a total politics nut, government nut. And so someone reached out and they're like, hey, there's this cool organization. It's called something else. Now it's called iCivics. And it was founded by Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. And it was about, kind of to Leigh's point, it was about creating civics education in maybe middle and high school, definitely high school, but in schools. And working on that, and it was all of these free lesson plans and things like that to bring government back into the schools. And it was awesome. So I was the co-state head in Georgia and went to education conference and spoke about it and met really cool people. But one really neat thing was also there was a golf tournament that they invited all of us to go to for free at Pebble Beach with Sandra Day O'Connor so we get to play. And I'm, again, a golfer. I was so excited. Well, they scheduled it for the week after I was due with my daughter. And so I didn't go.
My gosh.
I know. So one day I'm going to go and play Pebble Beach. I sadly never got to meet Justice O'Connor, but it was very cool. So iCivics is a really, so really neat. That still exists. So anyway.
Jamie, question or comment?
I have actually a quick comment, and this is from all my years of volunteering at Second Harvest Food Bank here in Nashville. I never realized how much meat can be canned.
Really? Me neither. I thought it was just the spam.
No, there's canned beef, there's canned chicken, canned tuna, but I literally was slightly obsessed when I was one of the times when I was volunteering, because I just kept finding it. And I was literally, I have a picture of me holding a can of, I think it's canned beef. And I'm like, what is this? We'll post it on our stories if I can find it. But I just didn't realize, I had no idea there was that much canned meat.
Oh, all the meats. Yeah, there's canned clams, I don't know, all the seafoods, right?
Canned clams.
I love canned steak and potatoes. Campbell's Chunky Soup was my go-to steak and potato soup going through. But also how much shelf stable. And so, just knowing as an organization as well, if you have a big budget and you're going to shop for things, don't just get the ramen that's there, which can be cheaper. And I remember in high school when people would be like, oh, because you'd get, rewarded for how many individual goods you brought. And so you'd be like, ramen is 9 cents each. But as an organization, now that we're not in high school, not getting credit for that, having things like canned beef and having some of that sustenance, giving that to people in need.
I know at Second Harvest, you can actually weigh it. So it's actually by weight. And if you're competing against another company.
Oh, don't get that ramen then. No.
It's air.
Don't get the ramen. It would not work. You would need the
exactly.
canned beef.
You need that's supermarket sweep level math right there. I'd be going around examining that.
Oh, I could totally kick ass on that show. I've always wanted to be on it. Supermarket sweep, love. Well, not a question, but just a quick comment for me. I've had, just throughout my career, I've had maybe a couple handfuls of employees. I'm recalling now, right? That's the pause. I'm thinking about it. I've had conversations with employees, and multiple employees tell me that, well, I don't volunteer because I don't feel like I have anything to give back, or, kind of have this, not necessarily disinterest, but almost this lack of confidence that they could give something back to the community, right? And in these instances, it was going to schools or being a mentor or doing STEM awareness at a conference or whatever, right? And what I will share, for me personally, is that it makes all the difference in the world. And what makes the difference is just your presence there, the time you give, your actual presence. But we are all so unique and so different. And mentorship really, really matters. For me personally, being a Hispanic female, would you all believe I didn't know that I could be who I became until I saw it be done in college. I had not seen a Hispanic leader in business, or a female, and all that. So just the power, right? Just the power of the visibility, the power of your presence. Someone is going to relate to that, whether it's someone younger than you or perhaps even older than you too, who's inspired to be like, you know what, I can do that because I see that person who has the same hobbies as me, or the same background, or the same look, or is from the same community. I see them doing that, and they will aspire. So that's what's so brilliant about just getting out there in the community and giving back, is that it's more than just the actual actions of what you are doing, but just the effect your presence has on people.
Yeah, that representation is so super important.
Oh boy. So key. Because see it, be it, right? So I just encourage everybody, find that thing that, that means something to you, and go and share it with somebody else, right? Big scale, small scale, doesn't matter. But, well, ladies, on that note.
All right, I'm going to go pet puppies now.
Me too. Pet a puppy for me. Aww.